Andy, we're going to go right to our phone callers. First up, Maureen in San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Maureen.
Hi, Hank. Thanks for your ministry. I really enjoy listening to it.
Thank you.
I also wanted you to know, I like how you put your words together in phrases. Like, for instance, the Bible is easy enough to understand that a child, can understand, say, honor thy father and mother, to the Bible is so deep that a scholar can, I think you said, drown in it.
It is inexhaustible, yes.
Yeah, I like you, your communication with people, it's just phenomenal. I wish there was more people that were able to communicate and do it with such respect and dignity like you do, and I like that. I came across a Bible, in the Bible, it's Ezekiel. I came across, I think, chapter 13, and I was just wondering, I don't want to, the other thing I like, before I get to my question, is I like how you always make sure that any secondary issues is just that, and it's never about dividing over or, walking up and going away from the church, nothing like that. So I want to make that clear, because I really like how you phrase your words, and you do it with such respect. So this has nothing to do with like secondary issues, but I came across Ezekiel chapter 13, and it's about, I can't remember the title of it, but you would know. And I'm wondering, is it relevant to today's, like, so to speak, cast of characters at the pulpit today? I know Ezekiel was a major prophet. I think there's prophets today, but I'm just wondering, is there still any relevance to that chapter for today's world?
Well, I think you're right in saying that we do not have prophets today in the same sense that we have the biblical prophets. The Bible is built on the foundation of Jesus Christ and then the apostles and the prophets. Christ, of course, is the cornerstone. Today, we do not have prophets that can foretell the future. We know that the Bible is authentic in part because of the testimony of the prophets and apostles and their unique role in human history. So there are today pretend prophets, and just as there are pretend prophets today, Ezekiel is identifying the pretend prophets of yesteryear. So he's pointing out prophets who prophesy out of their own imaginations, or prophets who are like jackals. In other words, they're scavengers. They're those who are preying on people. Their visions are false, he says. Their divinations are a lie. And the Lord has not sent them. And yet they are saying that their words are going to be fulfilled. And that's why the Lord says he is against the false prophets with their lying visions and their lying divinations. And this is not unique to Ezekiel. This is the same kind of message that Jeremiah was giving. In Jeremiah, there's an epic showdown between the prophet Jeremiah and Hananiah. Hananiah is telling the people exactly what their itching ears want to hear, and Jeremiah is pointing out that these prophets are simply deceiving the people with false visions. They're saying peace, peace when there is no peace. And so there is certainly a corollary between the false prophets in biblical times and the false prophets today, who are predicting when Jesus Christ is going to appear again, or giving false prophecies with respect to what's going to happen in a person's life. And in that context, are making merchandise out of God's people. And of course, Paul says this in the New Testament. He says to Timothy, even from among your own numbers, people will arise and distort the truth in order to draw away disciples after themselves. So be on your guard. Remember, for 3 years I never stopped warning each one of you night and day with tears.
Okay. Well, thank you. I don't know much about that book, Ezekiel. I did read up on Jeremiah, and I think that was the story where he was in Jerusalem, I believe, what you were referring to.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay,
in fact, they were in the temple court, and Hananiah was telling the people that those who had already been exiled would come back from Babylon, and that God was going to break the yoke of King Nebuchadnezzar, and that the temple vessels that had been pillaged would be brought back. And Jeremiah was saying, no, none of this is true. You haven't heard from the Lord. You're making this up. You're telling people what they want to hear. And after Hananiah had broken the wooden yoke from around Jeremiah's neck, in evidence that his prophecy was true, Jeremiah said, no, it's not true. In place of that wooden yoke, God's going to put a iron yoke around your neck. And then he prophesied even the death of Hananiah. And in that, you can tell a true prophet, because a true prophet is always one whose words come to pass. And as they come to pass, they always point you to the true God. The false prophet does precisely the opposite.
Wow. That's great. Well, thanks. Thanks for answering my question, and God bless your ministry.
Thanks, Maureen. Thank you for your kind words.